November 5th, 1960, 3:47 p.m. John Wayne is on location in Durango, Mexico, filming The Alamo. He's a director, producer, and star, the biggest project of his career. Everything he owns is invested in this film. The pressure is crushing, but he's John Wayne. He doesn't break. His assistant director walks onto the set, face pale, hand shaking. "Duke, there's a phone call. It's urgent." Wayne doesn't stop working. "Tell him I'll call back." "Duke, it's about Ward." Time stops. John Wayne, 53 years old, 6 feet 4 inches of muscle and testosterone, the toughest man in Hollywood. His face crumbles. He walks to the production office, picks up the phone. The voice on the other end belongs to Mary Louise Bond, Ward's wife. "Duke, Ward's gone. Heart attack. Dallas hotel. He's gone." Wayne doesn't speak. Can't speak. Just hold the phone, listening to Mary cry. Finally, 3 words. "I'm coming home." He hangs up, walks outside, sits on a rock in the Mexican desert. And for the first time since 1926, 34 years, John Wayne cries where people can see him. Let's go back. University of Southern California, 1926, 2 football players. Wardell Edwin Bond, massive, 6 feet 1 inch, 210 pounds of solid muscle, defensive tackle. Marion Morrison, taller, leaner, offensive lineman. They're teammates, but not friends. Bond thinks Morrison is too serious, too ambitious, trying too hard to be liked. Morrison thinks Bond is a drunk and troublemaker who wastes his talent. They barely speak. 1928. Director John Ford comes to USC looking for football players to work as extras in his new film, Salute. Ford hires Morrison, who's been doing prop work at Fox Studios. Morrison recommends several teammates. Ford asks about Bond. Morrison's response: "He's talented but unreliable. Drinks too much. Shows up late. I wouldn't hire him." Ford hires Bond anyway. And on the first day of filming, Bond proves Morrison right. Shows up an hour late, one pocket torn, gin bottle hanging out the other. Morrison is furious. "I vouch for you, and you make me look like an idiot." Bond grins, half drunk. "Nobody had to make you look like an idiot, Marion. You do that yourself." They nearly fight. Ford separates them. "You two are going to work together whether you like it or not. Figure it out." That night, sitting on location in Annapolis, Maryland, Bond apologizes. Not for being late. Ward Bond never apologized for who he was, but for embarrassing Morrison. "I don't care what people think of me," Bond says, "but I shouldn't have made you look bad. That wasn't right." Morrison, surprised by the honesty, nods. "Why do you drink so much?" Bond's answer changes everything. "Because I'm terrified. Terrified I'm not good enough. Terrified I'll fail. Terrified Hollywood will chew me up and spit me out." Morrison looks at this massive, intimidating man admitting fear, and realizes they're the same. 2 scared kids pretending to be tough. They become friends that night. Best friends. For 32 years. 1930s and 40s. Marion Morrison becomes John Wayne. Ward Bond becomes one of Hollywood's most reliable character actors. They work together constantly. Stagecoach, 1939. The Long Voyage Home, 1940. They were Expendable, 1945. Fort Apache, 1948. The Searchers, 1956. 22 films together over 28 years. But their friendship extends far beyond the screen. They go hunting together in Baja California. Weeks at a time, just the 2 of them and their horses. They go fishing off Catalina Island, drinking beer and telling stories nobody else would believe. When Wayne's first marriage to Josephine collapses in 1945, Bond is there, letting Wayne sleep on his couch for 3 months, never asking questions, just being present. When Wayne marries Chada Bauer in 1946, and the marriage turns violent and toxic, Bond is the one who drives to Wayne's house at 2 a.m. when Chada locks Wayne out in the middle of the fight. When Wayne's career nearly dies in the late 1940s after a series of box office failures, Bond tells directors, "Hire Duke. He's the best actor you'll ever work with. I'll vouch for him." And when Bond goes through his own struggles, alcoholism, gambling debts, 2 failed marriages, Wayne is there, paying Bond's debts without telling him, getting him into rehab, never judging, never abandoning. Hunting trip, Baja California. Wayne and Bond on horseback, tracking deer in the remote mountains. They've been out for 5 days, sleeping under stars, living like cowboys. Bond lends Wayne one of his shotguns, a beautiful custom piece Bond saved for months to buy. Wayne is cleaning the gun when it accidentally discharges. The blast hits Ward Bond in the backside. Not fatal, not even close, but painful, embarrassing, and completely Wayne's fault. Bond screams. Wayne panics. They're 20 miles from the nearest road. Wayne fashions a makeshift bandage, helps Bond onto his horse, and rides with him for 6 hours to reach a doctor. The whole ride, Bond is cursing, "You shot me? You actually shot me. 30 years I've known you, and you shoot me in the ass." Wayne, terrified and guilty, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll pay for everything. Doctors, hospital, whatever you need." Bond, despite the pain, starts laughing. "Duke, you shot me with my own gun. My own gun." By the time they reach the doctor, they're both laughing hysterically. The doctor patches Bond up. Wayne pays the bill, and Bond makes Wayne promise. "When I die, I'm leaving you that shotgun. So every time you see it, you remember the time you shot your best friend in the ass." They both think it's a joke. It isn't. Here's what most people don't know about Ward Bond. Behind the tough guy exterior, the drinking, the loud conservative politics, Ward Bond was terrified of dying alone. His first marriage ended in divorce in 1944. He spent 10 years single, drinking too much, gambling too much, convinced he'd die forgotten. 1954. He meets Mary Louise Myers, a quiet woman who works as a secretary at NBC. She doesn't care about Hollywood, doesn't care about fame. She cares about Ward. They marry within months. Ward Bond, at age 51, finally finds peace. He stops drinking, stops gambling, starts working steadier than ever. 1957, he lands a lead role in Wagon Train, a new NBC Western series. It becomes the #1 show on television. Ward Bond, character actor, bit player, finally gets to be the star. He calls Wayne to share the news. Wayne is filming Rio Bravo. "Ward, you finally got your show. I'm proud of you." Bond's voice cracks with emotion. "Duke, I wouldn't have made it this far without you. You know that, right?" "I know, Ward. I know." They're quiet for a moment. Then Bond, "Promise me something. When I die, you're not dying." "When I die," Bond insists, "promise you'll take care of Mary. Promise you'll be okay." Wayne's throat tightens. "Ward, promise me, Duke." "I promise." 1957 to 1960. Wagon Train is massive. Ward Bond is finally a household name at age 54. He's making $5,000 per episode, more money than he ever dreamed. He buys Mary a house, talks about retiring in 5 years, maybe doing 1 film a year with Wayne and Ford, spending the rest of his time fishing. November 1960. Wagon Train is filming its 4th season. Bond is in Dallas for a personal appearance, a charity event, and a college football game. November 5th, hotel room. Dallas. Ward Bond wakes up feeling off, chest tight. Mary asks if he's okay. "Just tired," he says. "I'll rest after the game." 2:30 p.m. He stands up to get dressed. Pain explodes in his chest. He collapses. Mary screams for help. Hotel staff call an ambulance. By the time paramedics arrive, Ward Bond is unconscious. 3:15 p.m. Dallas Hospital. Ward Bond is pronounced dead. Massive heart attack. Age 57. He never regained consciousness. Never said goodbye. Mary calls John Wayne. That's the call that destroys him. Wayne shuts down production on the Alamo. Cost of production $75,000. Money he doesn't have. He doesn't care. He flies from Durango to Los Angeles. 7-hour flight. He sits alone in the back of the plane, staring at nothing. The stewardess asks if he needs anything. Wayne doesn't respond. Doesn't hear her. He's replaying 32 years. Every hunt. Every fishing trip. Every late-night conversation. Every argument, every laugh. The time Bond talked him out of quitting Hollywood in 1932 when Wayne couldn't get work. The time Wayne bailed Bond out of jail after a bar fight in 1938. The time they sat on a beach in Mexico in 1950, and Ward said, "Duke, you're the best man I know. Don't let Hollywood destroy that." And now Ward is gone. No warning. No chance to say goodbye. Just gone. Wayne lands in Los Angeles. Drives straight to Mary Bond's house. She opens the door, sees him, collapses into his arms. They stand there for 10 minutes, both crying, neither speaking. Finally, Mary whispers, "He loved you more than anyone except me. You were his brother." Wayne's voice breaks. "He was mine, too." November 6th to 8th, 1960. John Wayne doesn't go home. He stays at Mary's house, handling everything, calls the funeral home, arranges the service, contacts Ward's family, notifies the studio. He calls everyone Ward worked with over 32 years, tells them personally, calls John Ford. Ford, 66 years old, starts crying on the phone. "Not Ward, not my Ward." Wayne organizes a funeral. Field Photo Memorial Park, Glendale, California. November 9th, 11 a.m. Wayne insists on being a pallbearer. "I carried him when he was drunk. I'll carry him now." He writes the eulogy. Sits up 3 nights in a row, writing and rewriting. Mary finds him at 4 a.m. on November 8th. Crumpled papers everywhere, tears on his face. "Duke, you don't have to do this." "Yes, I do. Ward deserved the truth, and I'm the only one who knows it." Field Photo Memorial Park. 11 a.m. 600 people attend. Every major star in Hollywood. James Stewart, Henry Fonda, Maureen O'Hara, Harry Carey Jr., Ben Johnson. The entire cast and crew of Wagon Train. John Ford sits in the front row, openly weeping. The casket is closed. Ward's wishes. John Wayne stands beside it with 5 other pallbearers. He's wearing a black suit, face stone, eyes dry, but his hands are shaking. The service begins. Hymns, prayers, standard funeral script. Then it's time for the eulogy. Wayne walks to the podium. 600 people go silent. He looks at the casket, looks at Mary in the front row, looks at his notes, and then he speaks. "Ward Bond was my best friend for 32 years. Wayne's voice is steady but quiet. Most of you knew him as an actor. Some knew him as a colleague. A few knew him as a friend. I knew him as a brother." He pauses, breathes, continues. "We met in 1928. I didn't like him. He showed up drunk to our first job together. I thought he was a mess. Unreliable. Wasted talent." People shift uncomfortably. This isn't a typical eulogy. But that night, Ward did something I've never forgotten. He told me the truth. He admitted he was scared. Scared he wasn't good enough. Scared Hollywood would destroy him. Wayne's voice cracked slightly. Most men spend their whole lives pretending they're not afraid. Ward had the guts to say it out loud. And that honesty, that refusal to pretend, made him the bravest man I ever knew. Silence. Complete silence. Over 32 years, Ward and I did everything together. We made 22 films. We hunted. We fished. We drank too much. We fought. We laughed. He looks at the casket. Ward knew me better than anyone alive. He knew my fears, my failures, my weaknesses, and he never judged, never abandoned, never turned his back. Wayne's eyes fill. He doesn't hide it. When my marriages fell apart, Ward was there. When I went bankrupt, Ward was there. When I wanted to quit, Ward was there. His voice drops to almost a whisper. And now he's gone. And I don't know how to be John Wayne without Ward Bond. The entire chapel is crying. I shot Ward once. 1952. Hunting accident. Hit him with his own gun. Unexpected laughter through tears. Ward made me promise that when he died, I'd inherit that shotgun, so I'd never forget. Wayne pulls a folded paper from his pocket. Yesterday, Mary gave me Ward's will. He left me the gun, and he left me a note. Wayne's hands shake as he reads. "Duke, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't you dare fall apart. You've got more movies to make, more people to inspire, more life to live. I'm proud of you. I've always been proud of you. You're the best man I know. Take care of Mary. Take care of yourself. And remember, you didn't shoot me that bad. I'm just giving you shit one last time. Your brother, Ward. Wayne can't continue. He folds a paper, grips the podium. 600 people wait. Finally, he looks up. Ward Bond wasn't just my friend. He was the man who taught me how to be human, how to admit fear, how to love without shame, how to be loyal when it's hard. His voice rises, stronger now. Hollywood will remember Ward as an actor. I'll remember him as the man who saved my life more times than I can count. He steps away from the podium, walks to the casket, places his hand on it. Goodbye, brother. I'll take care of Mary. I promise. Then he breaks. John Wayne, the Duke, the symbol of American masculinity, collapses against the casket and sobs. 600 people watch the legend become human. The funeral ends. Wayne and 5 others carry the casket to the hearse. Wayne rides alone in his car behind the procession. At the burial, he stands beside Mary, holding her hand. After everyone leaves, he stays. Alone, just him and Ward's grave. A cemetery worker watches from a distance, gives him space. Wayne stands there for 2 hours. Doesn't speak, doesn't cry, just stands. Finally, he says out loud, "I'm going to miss you every day, Ward. Every single day." He walks back to his car, drives to Mary's house, spends the evening with her, talking about Ward, telling stories, keeping the promise. Ward Bond asked Wayne to take care of Mary. Wayne kept that promise for 19 years, until his own death in 1979. He paid Mary's mortgage when money was tight. He called her every Christmas. He visited on Ward's birthday and the anniversary of his death. When Mary needed surgery in 1967, Wayne paid the medical bills. When she wanted to move to Arizona in 1972, Wayne helped her buy a house. He never told anyone, never publicized it, never used it for PR. Because that's what brothers do. In 1976, Mary sent Wayne a letter. "Duke, Ward told me before he died that you'd take care of me. I didn't believe anyone could keep that promise for 16 years. But you have. You've been the brother I never had. Ward was right about you. You're the best man he ever knew. Thank you for honoring his memory by honoring me." Wayne kept that letter in his desk until he died. After November 1960, people noticed Wayne was different, quieter, more reflective, less willing to play the tough guy off screen. He started talking about friendship publicly, something he'd never done before. In a 1962 interview, "I lost my best friend 2 years ago. Heart attack, no warning. And I realized I never told him how much he meant to me. I just assumed he knew. Don't make that mistake. Tell the people you love that you love them. Don't wait." In 1965, filming The Sons of Katie Elder, Wayne insisted on a scene where 2 brothers reconcile after years of fighting. The director asked why it mattered so much. Wayne's response, "Because I never got to reconcile with Ward. We never fought, but we never said goodbye either. I need this scene to exist." For me, the scene stayed in the film. It's one of Wayne's most emotional performances. He's not acting. He's saying goodbye to Ward. Ward Bonds will left John Wayne the shotgun, the one Wayne accidentally shot him with in 1952. Wayne kept it in his home office for 19 years. Never used it, never fired it, just kept it mounted on the wall. His children asked about it. Wayne's response, "That gun reminds me that even when you make mistakes with people you love, they forgive you. Ward could have hated me for shooting him. Instead," he laughed, "that's what friendship is." When Wayne died in 1979, his will specified that the shotgun be returned to Mary Bond. This belongs with Ward's memory, not mine. Mary donated it to the John Wayne Museum in 1985, 5 years before her own death. It's displayed with a plaque. The gun John Wayne accidentally shot Ward Bond with in 1952. Bequeathed to Wayne by Bond in 1960 as a reminder of friendship and forgiveness. After the funeral, cast members from Wagon Train shared stories. Terry Wilson, who played Bill Hawks. Ward talked about Duke constantly. My brother Duke. Duke would do it this way. I gotta call Duke tonight. He loved that man more than anyone except his wife. Frank McGrath, who played Charlie. Ward kept a photo of him and Duke on his dressing room mirror. Every day before filming, he'd look at it and say, "Let's make Duke proud today." Robert Horton, who played Flint. When Ward died, the show died with him. We kept filming for 4 more years, but it was never the same. Ward was a heart, and his heart was connected to John Wayne. Director John Ford, who worked with both Wayne and Bond for 30 years, was devastated. At the funeral, Ford told Wayne, "I brought you two together in 1928. I created this friendship, and now it's broken." Wayne's response, "You didn't create it, Pappy. You just gave us the chance." Ward and I made it real. Ford directed only 5 more films after Bond's death. Friends said he was never the same. In 1973, dying of stomach cancer, Ford called Wayne to his bedside. "Duke, I'm about to see Ward again. You got any messages?" Wayne smiled through tears. "Tell him I still have the shotgun, and I still miss him every day." June 11th, 1979. John Wayne dies of stomach cancer, age 72. In his final hours, he's surrounded by family. His daughter Isa later revealed her father's last words weren't about films, fame, or legacy. They were about Ward. "Tell Ward I kept my promise. Tell him I took care of Mary. Tell him I'm sorry I shot him." Then he smiled weakly. "Tell him the shotgun's waiting for him." He died 20 minutes later. At Wayne's funeral, someone placed a photograph beside the casket. Wayne and Ward Bond, 1956, on the set of The Searchers, both laughing, arms around each other, brothers. In 1985, Mary Bond gave her only interview about John Wayne. She was 75 years old, living in Arizona. People ask me what John Wayne was really like. I tell them, he was a man who kept a promise for 19 years. He was a man who cried at my husband's funeral and then took care of me like I was his own family. That's who John Wayne was. Not the cowboy, not the war hero. The man who loved my husband and honored that love by protecting me. Ward used to say, "Duke's the best man I know." He was right. Wayne and Bond appeared in 22 films together. But their real legacy isn't on screen. It's in how they treated each other. Ward Bond never became a star like Wayne. Never won an Oscar. Never headlined major films. But Wayne never treated him as lesser. He treated him as an equal, as a brother. When Hollywood offers came in for Wayne, he'd ask, "Is there a role for Ward?" When directors said no, Wayne would fight. "Then I'm not doing it either." He got Bond roles in at least a dozen films that way. That's loyalty. That's love. Here's the lesson of John Wayne and Ward Bond. Friendship isn't about convenience. It's not about what someone can do for you. It's about showing up. Every time. For 32 years. When Wayne shot Bond in 1952, Bond could have ended the friendship. Instead, he laughed. When Bond struggled with alcoholism in the 1940s, Wayne could have walked away. Instead, he got Bond help. When Wayne's career tanked in the late 1940s, Bond could have distanced himself. Instead, he vouched for Wayne. That's what brothers do. They show up. They forgive. They stay. November 5th, 1960. Ward Bond dies. John Wayne loses his best friend. But what Wayne does next, the eulogy, the promise to Mary, the 19 years of keeping that promise, defines his real legacy. Not the films, not the fame, the brotherhood. Ward Bond taught John Wayne how to be human, how to admit fear, how to love openly, how to be loyal when it's hard. And when Ward died, Wayne spent 19 years proving he learned those lessons. That's love. That's legacy. In 1973, Wayne was asked in an interview, "What's your greatest achievement?" His answer, being Ward Bond's friend, "Everything else is just movies." And unfortunately, they don't make friendships like that anymore. But maybe we can try. Maybe we can show up. Maybe we can stay. Maybe we can love without shame and forgive without hesitation. That would be the real tribute to Ward Bond and John Wayne, not watching their films, but living their friendship.